I ran through the empty hallway of my school. I was already late for cheer practice at school, and we were performing at the football game tonight. I got late as Dad declined propping me up at the last second, and I had to take the bus. But our coach wouldn't accept any excuses. My father, Marcus Humphrey, worked at the post office department of the town. Generally, he has always been punctual and invested in our activities, but nowadays, it seemed like he was getting more and more disinterested. By the day, he skipped a lot of his work days and also came home very late and excused himself from family dinners, citing that he had already eaten with his friends. Today, I complained to him, and he announced that he has to discuss something important and he would be talking to all of us tonight. I felt very anxious about the announcement as it seemed like he had something dreadful to tell us, and when we asked him about it, he simply said that we would all have to wait. I stood outside the entrance of the ground where we were practicing, and my phone rang. My mom was calling me. She had called to ask me if I'd reached safely, and I quickly hung up, preparing myself for the punishment I was about to receive. The coach told me to take 5 rounds of the ground for being late. I walked over to the racecourse haggardly and started running. After school, I waited for my brother Carl, who was still in middle school. While this was my last year, we walked home quietly as we were both worried about Dad's announcement. When we reached home, the atmosphere at home also seemed gloomy. Finally, when Dad was home, he saw us already seated in the living room. All of us straightened up as he entered. "Hi, Marcus. How was your day?" "Fine." He began walking towards the stairs to go to the bedroom. Dad, the announcement? Might as well get done with it since you're all here." He sat down on the single couch adjacent to us. "Well, it's really short and simple, to be honest. I have realized that I'm gay." Everyone just stared at him in shock. My mom kept her hand over mine and squeezed it. "What?" "I know it's very unsettling for all of you, but it's what it is. I'll be divorcing you, Leah, very soon, and I hope there's no hard feelings. We both know our relationship has been lost for a while now. I also don't feel the will to continue parenting you both." "What do you mean, the will to parent us?" "Well, I'd like to free myself of the obligation of taking care of all of you. I have a boyfriend, and I'd like to focus on my life with him." "Marcus, when were you going to tell me? You have found a boyfriend. You have been cheating on me all this time." "It wasn't my intention to hide it from you. That's just how I discovered it. It's been really hard for me to deal with all of this, and I finally decided to make my peace with it." "That's your excuse?" "I'm sorry, Leah." "You can't just leave us. You're our father. You really just want to abandon us?" "I feel like I'm a different person, and I can't keep ties with my old life if I want to live my new life." "Dad, what are you saying? You make no sense." "We can support you in this. Why do you need to just abandon us?" "It's just what I think is best for all of us." My mom was sitting on the edge of the couch with her face pale, crying softly. Dad got up and left while I and Carl continued shouting behind him. He went to his bedroom, and the living room was suddenly as quiet as it would have been possible. He got out with 3 bags and walked out of the house while we simply stared. It had already been 2 months since we had seen Dad. I had given up on college and was working 2 jobs to support our family financially, as it was impossible for us to survive with just Mom earning. It was a Sunday, and I was going for an interview at a new place as they were paying more. I walked through the office hallway to my meeting and noticed a yellow mug on one of the desks, just like my father's old mug. I ignored it, thinking that it had just been an odd coincidence. I came out of the interview confident that I'd done well, and there he was. It really was my father's mug, and he was sitting at the desks. He stood up when he saw me and I stopped. "Dad?" He got up and walked to the washrooms, trying to ignore me. I ran up to him to stop him. "You can't just run away from us." "What do you want, Diana? Don't you miss us at all? Don't you want to ask me if we're okay?" "Diana, what's the point of this futile conversation?" My eyes were full of tears, and alone tears came to my eyes and streamed down my cheeks. Futile, is it? There's no need to cry now. A gay man cannot be your father. He could, but you decided otherwise. Come on, Diana. Would you really be comfortable telling all your friends that your dad is gay? Yes. Ask me if I'm comfortable telling them that my father has abandoned us, so I'm working 2 jobs. You're working 2 jobs? Didn't you receive any money from a man called James Barley? I nodded and he began fidgeting with his phone for a while. Go home, Diana. I'll come talk to you. We can't talk about this at the office. I wiped off my tears on my sleeve and walked away. I didn't expect to open the door to my dad so soon. He came in and sat down on the couch solemnly. Dad? We all sat around him quietly, waiting in anticipation. I'm sorry to all of you. I was dating a man called James. He told me that my wife or my kids would never accept me. Hence, I had to hide my identity and my relationship from all of you for so long. When I finally couldn't take it, I decided to tell all of you, but he convinced me that you wouldn't want me around and would be embarrassed of me. So I decided to leave. I'm sorry, Diana, Carl, and Leah. I had been depositing money to him every month so he could pass it onto your accounts, but he never sent you the money. He felt insecure of me having any ties with my family when he had done. Oh, is that why you got so distant from us? Yes, I thought it would help you. Nothing helps, Dad. If you guys will allow me, I'd like to be your dad once more. What about James? I broke up with him. I can't be with a man who wants me to sacrifice my family just because he had to sacrifice his own family for this. I'm fortunate to have an understanding family that still wants to listen to me, even after all this. And I wouldn't give that up for anything. We can discuss the custody of the kids, Marcus, but I don't think I can forgive you yet for not only cheating on me, but stringing me along for so long. I don't expect you to do that, Leah. I am truly sorry for the pain I have caused you. It was difficult coming to this realization at such an age, and I found the wrong person to confide in. It took my family some time to settle into our new lives. I applied for college. Soon after Dad came back, he rented an apartment closer to us so he could be more involved in our lives. Our parents shared our custody, and although my mom was very hurt, she had been expecting a divorce with how things were going between her and Dad. She just hadn't expected this to be the reason. She was happy for us, as we had our father back. As for James, my dad sued him for misusing the money he had been sending to us. Not only was he legally obliged to pay my dad his money back, but he also had to pay a huge fine. When his workplace found out about the ongoing case against him, they fired him. Eventually, James had to relocate in order to find a decent job with a blemish in his records. It was a Sunday morning when our family felt like it was one, as all of us sat in our white lawn chairs discussing, sipping some tea, and chatting about the latest episode of a TV show. Sometimes our families evolve in ways we don't expect, but that evolution doesn't have to put a stop to our current lives. People change as time goes on, but priorities, like families, shouldn't.